In the always changing world of fashion and culture, the fads from the past stick in our memories. The 1980s brought some very unique and unforgettable trends that were really popular back then. In this video, we'll explore famous fads from the 1980s that shaped a generation, even if today they seem funny in hindsight. Number 1. The Rubik's Cube. Back in 1974, a Hungarian professor named Erno Rubik invented a little puzzle game that no one could have expected would blow up into an international obsession. This 3D mechanical puzzle, originally called the Magic Cube, challenged players to twist and turn a cube with 9 squares on each side, each sporting a different color, until all 9 squares on all 6 sides matched. When the Rubik's Cube first hit toy store shelves in 1980, it quickly took the world by storm. It seemed like every kid, and maybe even some adults, just had to have one. By the middle of 1981, an estimated 100,000 cubes were sold globally each day. Can you imagine how sore our fingers must have been from all that twisting? Over time, books and cheat sheets popped up, showing the sequences of moves needed to finally solve the tricky cube. Competitions also began taking place to see who could solve their Rubik's Cube fastest, with the current world record standing at just 3.13 seconds. Since its debut, over 450 million Rubik's Cubes have been sold around the world by 2021. It even made some special appearances in 1980s pop culture. Number 2. Pac-Man. Of course, it wasn't just the Rubik's Cube keeping us busy in the 1980s. Perhaps the defining pastime of the decade was hanging out at the local arcade, pumping quarters into some totally rad video game machines. And the king of all arcade games in the 80s was undoubtedly Pac-Man. This little yellow circle guy made his debut on May 22, 1980, in Japan, arriving in the US not too long after. And let me tell you, Pac-Man took North American arcades by storm, unlike anything before. Its simplistic, maze chase gameplay was easy to grasp, but oddly addicting. For only 25 cents, you could guide Pac-Man through a maze and help him gobble up all the pellets while avoiding colorful ghosts named Blinky, Pinky, Inky, and Clyde. Nowhere was safe from Pac-Man fever, as the hit song went. Arcades, bars, pizza parlors, bowling alleys, laundromats, even 7-Elevens, filled up with Pac-Man cabinets, and Pac-Man swag was everywhere too. From t-shirts to lunchboxes to even pasta. Estimates say arcade operators were collecting $8 million a week in Pac-Man quarters by 1982. Number 3. Mood rings. Tapping away at arcade cabinets could admittedly work up a sweat, which is probably why so many kids sported mood rings in the 80s. We thought these magical rings could show off our feelings based on body temperature. Mood rings first hit the scene around 1975, but peaked in popularity throughout the 1980s. You could buy them at toy stores, grocery shops, school book fairs, heck, even little vending machine eggs. They featured a liquid crystal in the center that would shift colors as your skin heat changed, supposedly syncing up with your mood. Ice blue meant you were chilling out. Purple was passionate. Yellow-green was anxious or stressed. Of course, running around the arcade mid-game probably made most rings look excited, or even aggressive red. Even the President of the United States joined the craze. Ronald Reagan famously wore a United States flag mood ring to his 1981 inauguration. Of course, the color-emotion correlation wasn't exactly scientifically sound, and you had to be careful not to chip or crack the glass encasing. But despite questionable accuracy and durability, mood rings remained in the pink, thanks to their novelty. Even as many faded fads made a comeback in recent years, the mood ring phenomenon remains distinctly 1980s. Number 4. Stirrup pants. Of course, protecting our mood rings meant rocking the perfect outfit. For most people, that often meant stirrup pants. Stirrup pants emerged from the fitness craze in the early 80s when dance aerobics was all the rage. These stretchy spandex leggings featured a loop on the hem that slipped under your shoe. Genius. It kept your pants from riding up, letting you high kick in step class without worrying about accidentally mooning your classmates. Paired with a matching leotard or oversized sweatshirt and sneakers, it was the epitome of 80s sporty style. Soon, stirrup pants stepped out of the gym and into everyday wear. They offered comfort and mobility, but still looked so fashionable. I loved pairing mine with an off-the-shoulder top and a side ponytail when going to the roller rink with friends. And they came in so many rad neon colors and prints. Hot pink leopard print was obviously a popular choice in my middle school. While they aren't as common today, stirrup pants still remind me of friendship bracelets and rollerblading, making for some pretty awesome fashion photos. Number 5. Boombox. When it came to showing off our stirrup pant style, people did it in classic 80s fashion, with a boombox perched on our shoulder, blasting the freshest jams. Boomboxes first landed in America in the late 1970s, but absolutely exploded in popularity in urban areas during the 1980s. These chunky stereos were like a portable party, letting breakdancers showcase the newest tunes for impromptu dance circles. Running on heavy batteries, we could crank up the volume on Run DMC and LL Cool J hits for hours. I have vivid memories of watching b-boys and b-girls spinning on pieces of cardboard while a boombox rattled out killer beats. Boombox designs got cooler and more compact as the 80s went on. Some cities tried banning them from public, worried about the volume and their association with hip-hop. But despite the controversy, they became a quintessential piece of culture. Sony sold 20 million boomboxes globally in 1986 alone. Though later replaced in popularity by Walkmans and Discmans, boomboxes always take me back to watching street dancers perfecting new moves to songs played on repeat. It was all about the music, moves, and bold style. No leg warmers required. Number 6, parachute pants. Speaking of big street dance looks, another centerpiece was parachute pants. These billowy nylon pants rose up alongside breakdancing in the early 1980s urban scene. Their lightweight, breathable fabric resembled actual parachutes, originally made for skydiving thrill seekers, but their freedom of movement and flexibility soon caught on among b-boy and b-girl dancers, letting them execute tricky dance moves. Signature elements included elastic waistbands and cuffs, along with side-zippered pockets. Coming in a wide range of bright, bold colors and prints, parachute pants shook up street style with their breezy swagger. Although the eye-catching trend eventually drifted back down, for a while, they helped dancers of all ages gain major airtime and stick their best landings in comfort. Number 7, scrunchies. With lively street looks all the rage, even hair accessories got bigger and brighter in the 1980s. Scrunchies emerged as the quintessential hair tie for voluminous hairstyles. These elastic fabric bands were gentle on hair compared to plain rubber bands, keeping those curly perms or massive bangs in place without damage. Scrunchies enabled even more dramatic shapes like side ponytails atop teased locks. Their friction grip held strong despite heavier hairspray styles. And just like parachute pants, scrunchies got creative with bright colors and fabric prints too. Some later variations even incorporated sequins, bows, and other textile embellishments for extra flair. While messy buns may be today's top-knot trend, 80s kids will always have nostalgia for these fabric hair helpers that enabled sky-high, attention-grabbing hairstyles in every shade. Simple and stretchy scrunchies made a statement atop heads across middle schools, high schools, and malls nationwide during their peak. Number 8, hypercolor shirts. With bold colors dominating even hair trends, it's no wonder hypercolor shirts blew up big among 80s kids too. These heat-sensitive tees featured special thermochromic dyes to create a trippy effect. As body heat changed, the fabric would shift colors right before your eyes. Intense heat could make a purple shirt morph into pretty pink. Stepping into the shade might cool it back down to blue. Hypercolor's ombre rainbow effect wowed middle school science classes and confused laundry parents nationwide. Available across garments like t-shirts, shorts, and shoelaces, hypercolor gave off a sense of magic, with materials doing the unexpected. Although the color alterations didn't withstand too many washes before fading, hypercolor delivered lasting memories of radical clothing, ironically appealing more to carefree kids than serious fashion critics. These clever chameleon-like garments brought interactive fun beyond what everyday apparel could provide at the time. Number 9, skids pants. When it came to playful clothing fads, hypercolor shirts had competition from skids pants. These experimental pants featured a layering technique using tags inside to make a unique sound. Running in skids pants lets kids mimic a skidding noise echoing as the textile tags rubbed together. It created an illusion of speeding or stopping fast, like a car peeling out. Though originally designed with athletic purposes in mind, the novelty sound factor quickly attracted adolescent fans more interested in getting attention than sports performance. The audio edition led many schools to add skids pants to dress code bans about distraction. And the baggy layered look didn't last beyond the 80s once other flashy trends emerged. Still, for preteens and teens bored with ordinary apparel, making their own screeching halt sound effects by speeding down hallways brought silly amusement. What skids pants lacked in style or comfort, They made up for in giggles and camaraderie bonding among groups of impulsive friends. Number 10. Teased hair. From sound effects to skyscraper styles, adolescent trends pushed major boundaries. When it came to testing gravity, few fads aimed as high as teased hair. This audacious look relied on serious back combing and volumizing sprays to achieve extreme height. Standard flat irons and curling irons morphed locks toward the heavens through meticulous styling. Following pop icons' lead, everyday teens used round brushes and strong hold products to defy hairdo's natural direction, upward. What peaked as glossy main masterpieces often succumbed to sad fates, however, slumping under day-long weight and humidity into lopsided, frizz halos. Still, for picture day glory or Friday night dance posture, teased hair brought impressive presence, at least for several hours. Eventually outshined by glamorous perms and bouncier bangs, teased hair's majestic ambitions left memories of sensational personal confidence and humbling public flattening. Gravity ultimately won for most, but the steep styling learning curve paid off in nostalgic photos. Number 11. Jelly shoes. Trying to control wild, big hairstyles, cool shoes had to step up their game, so jelly shoes came into play. These fun, brightly colored plastic sandals first popped up in the 1980s as beachwear. Their clear tops let people show off bright soles in colors like neon green or bright pink, adding a fun, summer vibe with every step off the beach and onto city streets. The bendy vinyl they were made of also sparkled with metallic glitter, or had crazy color swirls, turning plain feet into stars of the dance floor. Even though they were cheap, they weren't the comfiest. Walking around in these hard shoes could hurt your feet, even if you weren't walking far. When they started causing blisters, especially after wearing them to school, a lot of people stopped wearing them. But their bold colors and eye-catching shine made sure you stood out in a crowd. For those who didn't mind the discomfort, the cool factor of these shoes made every glittery step memorable. They were all about taking fashion risks, even if it meant their feet hurt, making their fashion choices unforgettable. Number 12. Trivial Pursuit. As cool shoes were all the rage, fun hobbies also took over everyone's free time in the 80s. Hanging out on weekends turned into epic trivia battles because of Trivial Pursuit. This board game was all about quick questions on everything from places to movies, science, sports, and history. It hit the scene in the early 80s and quickly became a must-play for people who loved showing off how much they knew. The game had tough questions that really showed who could be on Jeopardy and who was just there for the snacks. Playing could last for hours, all for the glory of filling up your game piece with the right answers. Even though its huge popularity didn't last forever, this game changed how we saw smart fun. It wasn't just about the game. It was about diving deep into all sorts of topics with your friends and really getting to know each other's quirky sides. Turns out, even small facts can bring people closer together. Number 13. Cabbage Patch Kids. When it was time for kids, or the kid at heart, to play, some toys became super popular, even more than big hairstyles. One big toy craze had parents scrambling to get their hands on these soft, round dolls called Cabbage Patch Kids. These dolls had chubby faces, each with their own names and stories, and they came with their own baby blankets. You even got to adopt them with special birth certificates. The company that made them, Coleco, didn't make enough on purpose. So by 1983, they were really hard to find around the holidays. Parents and grandparents did whatever it took to grab one, even if it meant getting into fights at the store. Some places had to give out tickets just to keep the peace when new dolls arrived. Even though they were just dolls with cloth bodies and plastic heads, Cabbage Patch Kids made parents go to extremes, maybe even more than their kids asked for them. Getting to officially adopt one made people feel really attached, throwing birthday parties for them, or making special clothes. Thanks to clever advertising and keeping them hard to find, these dolls became a big deal for collectors, blending make-believe with real spending, and every time new ones came out, people couldn't wait to buy them. Number 14. Headband. Headband fever caught on in a big way, though it might not seem like a big deal now. Back then, headbands weren't just the simple plastic or metal kinds. They became a huge fashion statement, with all kinds of colors, patterns, bows, and decorations. They could do anything from keeping curly bangs in check for prom night to adding a fancy touch with lace for evening dresses. For those into working out at home, like with Jane Fonda's exercises, the comfy terry cloth headbands were perfect. And if you were all about the 80s glitter trend, there were headbands for that too. No matter what you were into, headbands were great for keeping hair out of your face and spicing up your look, way beyond what scrunchies could do. These little bands of fabric could really change up your hairstyle, making them a must-have accessory. Number 15, aerobic workout videos. As workout videos became the big thing, thanks to everyone having VHS players at home, getting in shape started to feel more like a fashion statement. Suddenly, everyone from young people with perms to parents in their 40s was diving into aerobics videos like they were flipping through a magazine. You had Jazzercise, with its flashy dance moves set to popular music, Jane Fonda turning people into fitness machines, and Denise Austin showing that getting fit could be simple and fun, without needing to dress quite like Richard Simmons. These workouts made getting into shape accessible to everyone, not just those who went to the gym. Now, people were working out in their living rooms, basements, or wherever they could fit in front of a TV, all while wearing those iconic sweatbands. It was about looking cool while you worked up a sweat, all from the comfort of your own home, with just a VHS tape and your VCR. Number 16, acid wash denim. When clothes started to really show off people's attitudes, nothing screamed louder than acid wash denim, before it became common to see jeans that looked like they'd been through a lot right off the shelf. The 1980s were all about using chemicals to get that cool, worn-out look. This idea of making jeans look old on purpose actually started in the 1960s and 70s by people experimenting on their own. However, it wasn't until the 80s that this rough and tumble style went from a DIY project to something you could buy in stores, thanks to brands wanting to sell that rebellious vibe. Acid washing changed the game by treating jeans with harsh chemicals or tumbling them with stones until they had that perfect, naturally beaten-up appearance. This trend allowed young people from the suburbs to look like they'd seen some tough times without actually having to. Fashion critics weren't fans, calling the style fake and pointing out the environmental damage caused by all those chemicals and stones. Despite the backlash and environmental concerns, fans of the look, inspired by rock stars like Axl Rose, didn't really care. They loved their acid-washed jeans for their unique flair. Number 17, koosh balls. For those not into the trend of bleach-stained jeans, koosh balls offered a different kind of fun. These rubber toys, covered in hundreds of squishy, latex strands, looked like they jumped right out of a sci-fi movie. Their strange, almost shapeless form seemed to defy the laws of physics, making them feel more like creatures from another planet than something you'd find in a toy shop. Yet, there was something about their unique, flexible weirdness that was super captivating. People loved to fiddle with them during conversations or twist their stretchy strands around their fingers, finding a bit of calm and creativity in their oddity. Marketed as the perfect toy for anyone looking for a stress-free way to pass the time. Especially while waiting for their favorite music videos on MTV, koosh balls became a hit for offering a simple, chemical-free way to relax and let your imagination run wild with their alien-like charm. Number 18, roller skating. When kids got bored with playing with koosh balls, they moved from their bedrooms to garages and turned into makeshift roller rinks. Roller skating wasn't as intense as ice skating, but it was a fun way to hang out with friends and listen to good music, especially during its popularity, spike in the 70s, and then again in the 80s when funk and disco music made a comeback. Roller rinks became the cool place to be, with leg warmers, mirror balls, and classic hits setting the scene for speedy laps. These places, a mix of sports arenas and dance clubs, made skating feel like a thrilling adventure. Gliding on wheels was not just fun. It was a way to build strength for more impressive skating tricks, with the safety of wall railings, just in case. It didn't matter how far you went. It was all about enjoying the freedom, figuring out who you were, and making friends while circling the rink. Eventually, trends changed, and kids went back to walking or biking. But for a while, roller skating was their low-cost ticket to a world of imagination and independence, all within the reach of their allowance. As we roll on from the 1980s most radical rolling fads into the decades beyond, it's clear this vibrant era made an indelible impact. Trends reflected both flashes of creative expression and the shifting stages of adolescence. While bright colors may have faded over time, people still love things like scrunchies and the unique look of acid-washed jeans. What other awesome trends from the 80s do you remember? If you liked the video, please subscribe to our channel, Nostalgic American, for more nostalgic memories. Until next time.